It's not really good enough, even, and say even for you, I don't mean that derogatory, it's certainly not good enough for us, I don't think. Maybe one of us will step up, but you need to just sweat it harder, get a better deal out of it.
The deal is a short leasehold repossession flat in Crawley. The entrepreneurs are Olivia and James Burt, father and daughter. And they came on Series 2 of Property Elevator to pitch for funding to 5 property angels. What you're about to see is the pitch that appeared on Series 2 of Property Elevator, which first shown on Sky Channel 192. Entrepreneurs come to pitch for funding for their property projects, and they do so to 5 property angels. The property angels are John Howard, Helen Chorley, Paul Mahoney, Nicholas Wallwork, and myself, Ranjan Bhattacharya. On this YouTube channel, you can catch all the pitches from Series 2 of Property Elevator, together with my reaction and analysis. To make sure you don't miss out, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get notified as soon as we upload a new video. Now let's go over to Elizabeth Warburton, the presenter on the show, to chat to our pitchers, Olivia and James Burt.
Okay, so we have father, daughter, James and Olivia with us. It's great to have you both.
Hi.
Thank you for coming to Property
Thank you
Elevator
for having
today. So tell us a little bit about the deal and what you're after from the Angels today.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's pretty simple. It's a one-bedroom maisonette in Crawley that's been on the market since December. It's a repossession. It's a bit dated, but the main reason it hasn't sold so far is got a short lease, 67 years left,
Right.
unexpired, which people start to shy away from leases below 80 years, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
We've been told by the agent it's on the market for just under 150,000.
Right.
The agent has intimated to us that we could pick it up for 130, maybe a bit less than that. So what we're looking for today, and the main reason is to get my daughter on the property ladder.
Nice.
She's
I'm a qualified nursery practitioner,
Okay.
so early years,
Yeah.
like with little children,
Lovely.
hence the uniform.
So you want a little bit of passive income as well on the side.
Yeah.
So
Great.
it's a lovely job, but obviously it doesn't pay a great deal. So
Yeah.
what we're hoping to do is get Olivia on the property ladder today with some help from the investors.
Okay, well best of luck.
Thank you.
And I'll chat to you when you get out. Fingers
Thank you.
crossed.
Perfect.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So the issue with this deal is the short lease. The minute you get under 80 years, there's a more limited set of lenders who are willing to finance projects like that. Now, when you get below 65 years, then it's a real challenge to find any lender willing to give you a mortgage. But this is at the stage where you can just about get some lenders to fund it. But they do have to kind of own the property for 2 years before they can apply to the freeholder for that all-important lease extension.
We've got the Burt family coming in, and this is a property in Crawley. It's a one-bedroom maisonette, I think. I think they're getting a lease extension as well. It's nice that a father and daughter coming in together.
My name is James. I'm a retail property consultant. So I do work in property, but on the commercial side of things. This is my daughter, Olivia.
Hiya. I'm
Olivia.
a qualified early years educator, so nothing to do with property, but hoping to get my way onto the property ladder with my father to help me.
Yeah.
And hopefully you guys as well.
And that's the basic reason we're here today. So we've identified a property in Crawley, a one-bedroom maisonette. It's been on the market since December. It's a repossession. It hasn't sold for a couple of main reasons. One being it's got a short lease. The lease only got 67 years left to go. And it's also looking pretty tired, as you can see from the photographs. It's on the market for just under 150,000. The agent marketing it has suggested to us that we could pick it up for 130, maybe a bit less than that. The expectation is if we're able to do that, renew the lease, spend probably about 10,000 refurbishing the property, there should be something like a £20,000 mortgage profit in that if and when we came to sell. I mean, the intention isn't to sell, but once the lease is extended, property done up, then remortgage, and then give any monies that we're able to refund the angel investors. What we're looking to achieve from you guys is a £40,000 injection of cash, which would be the 25% deposit for the mortgage, along with £10,000 towards doing the property up and renovating it.
Very good. as I would expect from a professional.
That's very kind.
Nicholas, would you like to kick us off?
You said the end value is 180, was it? Okay, and spending sort of 10 on it, so about 40 grand.
We've got the lease renewal as well.
And the lease renewal as well, yeah, okay, so maybe not quite that much. Okay, so we'd need to leave a bit of money in to get the capital growth over time as well, potentially.
So expected purchase price is 130.
That's right.
Yeah, your lease extension 18 to 19.
Probably 20 with fees. Yeah.
Okay, and then 10 refurb. Okay, so 160 all in costs and GDV you're expecting of 180. Okay, so that's where your 20k profit is coming from. I'm just wondering about the kind of what are your comparables for working out the net income?
I've got a couple of flats in that vicinity, one in Crawley, one in Horsham, which I let out. So I've got a pretty good feel for the sort of rental income you can expect.
Okay.
To make the deal work with an investor, I'd probably be going in a bit harder on the value, given the quality of what what it's in, and also the short lease.
Deliver. So.
Yeah, so I'd be going in a bit harder on that, trying to build a little bit more equity into it. It says cash buyers only on the ad. Is that just because of the lease?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes that can be a red flag because they don't want surveys done. But
it's an interesting point that Paul's made, and very good of him to pick that up, because it's not entirely true that it's because of the short lease. The lease is long enough to get some lenders to fund this particular project. So it is worth exploring why the details say cash buyers only.
But it probably is just because of the lease in this case. It seems maybe the works are a little bit light on cost, just based from my own experience. What are they based on?
Personal experience, to be honest with you, and the fact that we're pretty hands-on. So we do, not the
work yourself.
Olivia's boyfriend's an electrician, for instance.
Okay.
We're pretty handy
We
with
want to
paintbrush.
keep him going for a while. Don't mind me saying,
At least
very
we've done
handy.
5 deals.
Yes.
Minimum of 5 deals.
Yeah, I suppose my main concern about the works being a little bit light on and the current purchase value is, to replace a bathroom and kitchen and the carpets and paint and that sort of thing. I would have thought it'd be more like 10 to 15,000, which almost wipes out your profit.
One thing I'm concerned about is the lease extension costs. How do you know that it's 20,500? Because a concern for me is why hasn't the vendor already extended it or arranged it first?
As it's a repossession, I can't get a transfer of that ability to extend the lease. So worst case scenario, I'm going to have to wait for 2 years before I can renew the lease. So that's why I've taken a more long-term view.
Yeah.
If we're able to get a better mortgage product, obviously we'll pursue that. I mean, that's something that's certainly worth having a look at. But the other aspect of the matter is that we in terms of the figure, the £20,000, that was literally just putting the numbers into the lease advisory website, which in the pamphlet you've got there, you've got those figures there.
I mean, that's generally a little bit of a concern because it all depends on whether the freeholder is willing to sell it. If they are not, then you can end up paying a lot of legal costs and surveying costs because they can request a valuation done, and these costs can easily go up. It depends on whether if the freeholder is not willing, the cost of that can go up.
That's a very good point.
Just to elaborate on that point, you can go to the Leasehold Advisory Service and they give these broad brush rules of thumb for estimating what it will cost to get a lease extension. But one thing you need to do is be aware of the process for seeking a lease extension. Now, if you are looking at a property with a short lease, what I recommend you do is to find out who the freeholder is and do a bit of research on them. If they're a small freehold company or a private individual, then it's likely not to be too much of a concern. If they are a larger company, which you can easily find out by just Googling their name, there are some notoriously bad large freehold companies who make it very, very difficult and expensive for you to extend your lease. When you want to extend your lease and the freeholder wants to make it a little bit difficult, the costs can soon rack up. First of all, the freeholder has the right to insist on an independent valuation by a qualified surveyor. and you will be paying for the cost of that valuation. And then there are legal fees for the solicitors involved, both your side and of course the freeholder's side, and you will be picking up the tab for that too. There is usually a deal to be had, but you need to do a little bit of checking out as to who your freeholder is to ascertain how easy that path is to get that leasehold extension.
It's not really good enough, even, and say even for you, that's, I don't mean that derogatory, it's certainly not good enough for us, I don't think. Maybe one of us will step up, but you need to just sweat it harder, get a better deal out of it. And the basics you've done are good and they're right. So really what you need to do now, I think personally, is go back, try and get it for 125. Do you know who the freeholder is?
No.
Okay, because that's, like Ranjan says, that is an issue. I would have thought 20,000 to renew this is a bit heavy because we own a lot of freeholds, and so all the time we're getting people asking us, can we renew the leases and so on. And I would have thought for something on a value of 125, 130, I'd have thought 20,000 is a bit steep. It should be a bit less than that probably. You might negotiate that down.
Now this all depends, of course, and it's quite hard to estimate just from paper the costs of extending a lease.
In all these figures, I've been realistic, erring on the side of caution.
No, you've done just the right thing. I completely agree with you on that. You've come in here in the right manner, in the right way. I just think that, certainly for me, if we start off with me, I just don't think there's really enough meat in it for me to invest this time. However, what I would say is you're on the right lines. You just need to be a bit greedier and try and widen that gap between what you're paying for it and what it's going to be worth when it's done. But I just think for me, if you came here with saying there's a house and there's 3 flats, then I would have been more interested than I would with just the one. I think you've just been a little bit too cautious.
Yeah, I fully accept the fact it's a pretty simple oven-ready deal.
And that's great because if you're not successful today, I'm sure you're going to help Olivia and put the money in for her, and she'll be doing it anyway. So that's great.
If I said I wouldn't be here.
On that basis, it's the right one to do. But for us, for me, I can't talk for the others, but for me, it's just not really big enough today.
Okay, thank you.
For me, I think you're making a mistake that a lot of investors make. They invest, or they look to invest with their heart rather than their head. And I think you're looking for a home for Olivia and a way to get her into her first home, rather than helping her with an investment that makes money that she can then use that money to take the deposit to buy the home she wants. That would be my approach. So I'd forget about living in this one. You might not have the right deal here because of the lease extension complications, cost uncertainty. Look for a simpler deal that you can go and make 20 or 30 grand out of, flip that deal within 6 months, and then use that deposit to go and buy your home.
I don't think she can buy a simpler deal. Very simple.
Well, this is complicated because it's got a lease extension. You don't know what that cost is going to be.
That's the margin, the lease extension. If there's problems, that's where you make your margins, on the problems. So
of course.
I tend to disagree with Nicholas on this, surprisingly.
Well, maybe think big.
I'm with Nicholas on this one, I'm afraid. I mean, for your first deal, there are simpler deals to be had. You don't want to be overcomplicated with all this palaver. I mean, of course, dealing with lease extensions is not too much of a hassle if you've got a little bit of experience. But what Nicholas is saying is very, very sound. And what John alluded to is also very, very sound. This is not really a investment deal because this is mixed with owner occupation. And as you'll see on countless videos that I've done, buying a home to live in is completely different to buying an investment property.
Bigger then is maybe what I mean as well.
I would agree with you.
A slightly bigger property. Yeah. We might have been able to invest in it.
Yeah.
Forget about living in it because you don't want to buy a 4-bed house to live in, but it might have had enough margin for us to be interested,
that's fair
for you to make some money when you sell it, and then you can go and buy your home. Yeah. Or do another couple of deals. I'd say forget about buying your home for now. Yeah. Do 3 or 4 deals, make 100 grand.
Live at home, it's the cheapest thing to do.
Live at home, pay no rent, get free food and laundry. It's perfect.
It's perfect. Why move?
The problem is we live in a nice area in Twickenham, and
I'm sure you do.
Getting anything around there is just an arm and a leg.
Yeah,
and
I appreciate that.
So to try and get Olivia on the ladder, she's having to look in.
I understand that, and she's doing just the right thing in that respect. Helen?
I do think you're on the right lines. I like that you have been conservative in your approach. I'd rather see that than somebody kind of, you know, coming with inflated figures and trying to do something beyond their means, albeit with the guidance that you've got, which is absolutely invaluable, and with Nicholas, that I actually think you could do something a little bit bigger. The yield and the kind of time frame don't work for me, but I can really see that this is going to be the start of something for you. So I really wish you well, and you know, you're both, you're sensible, you're investable, you're looking at the right things, you know, you've presented it, you know, got kind of all the numbers. So find something bigger and come back next time.
Now, Helen picked up on something which hasn't really been discussed in this pitch so far. It's the time frame, it's the exit plan. And this is a big problem for a lot of the angels, really. The problem with this is that by the time you've extended the lease, which will take an unknown period of time, and it could be a good couple of years or so minimum. So you're in the deal, you're invested in the deal for quite a large, lengthy period of time, and there are a little few unknowns in there as well. And that makes it a little bit unattractive for the size of the profit that's available, for the size of the uplift that is available.
I started just out of university. I had 5 investment properties before, while living at home with mum and dad. Just turn them over, generate the cash flow, then go for. So I think that's, and to do that, you really need quicker deals that you can just turn around quickly, get your money out, get your cash pot before then going in. So it's like, I think you're playing golf and trying to do a hole-in-one. Take a few shots to get it in the hole. I love problems where I know I can fix them with absolute certainty.
Yeah.
And for here, because I am a freeholder and I get a lot of people wanting to extend their lease and all and buy the lease, and I know what I can do if I'm unwilling to sell the freehold to slow the process up. And if the freeholder's not willing and you haven't had a talk to the freeholder first, then the costs and the time can go up dramatically to secure that extension before you're able to remortgage it and all the rest of it.
Yeah, a quick interruption there to say a special thank you to my mum and dad for giving me rent-free accommodation, free food and laundry while I managed to build the early stage of my property portfolio. But seriously though, that's great advice from some of the angels there. Turn over some property deals for some quick cash, or do some buy-to-lets to generate some income before looking for the home. And most importantly, don't mix the two, because buying your own home and buying an investment property are two different kettles of fish.
To echo some of the things that have already been said and add my own little touch to it, first off, I agree with what Nick said. If you were thinking about this being your home at some point, get that out of your head completely. Investing and personal preferences should be completely separate.
That's what I said.
Investing should be unemotional, commercially minded, and your home is a personal decision, and you should be trying to make the money to buy the home and make the personal decision. With regards to the deal, I think it's something that maybe could work if you were doing it on your own. I don't necessarily think it works bringing an investor in because the margin's not big enough. If it was me doing it and it was a lease extension and a refurb, I would want a much bigger margin than 7%. I'd be aiming for 20 to 30% because things are going to probably come up and cost you extra money than what you expected. So that's my take on it, and for that reason it's not for me.
So thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you for listening to us.
This is just the start. You've got a great mentor
have,
and a great financier as well, Colin. So don't worry about that. You crack on, and I know you're going to be successful. And if you come with our next series with a bigger deal, I'm sure we'll invest.
Perfect, thank you.
Well, see you then.
Okay, so unfortunately, no deal.
No.
No,
That's a shame. I'm really sorry.
That's okay.
What feedback did the angels give you?
They suggested us maybe come back next year with a bigger project,
Okay.
bigger margin to give them bigger profit, sort of.
What we're trying to do is obviously get Olivia onto the ladder. So the deal we presented was maybe a bit Mickey Mouse for those guys.
Right, maybe.
And we came away with some good advice though in terms
Okay.
of how to possibly to make the deal work in a better way.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have been a bit more aggressive with our figures.
Okay.
We didn't want to not deliver on something. And so
You wanted more
there's
of
still
a
options.
conservative
Yeah,
approach.
exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe that was an error on our part, but we got some good advice, and if we do pursue this ourselves, they've given us some really good tips to try and make it work in a better fashion. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, best of luck with
Thank
it. You'll
you.
have to let us know how you get on and
Thanks,
if it
Lizzie.
goes through. And yeah, you're more than welcome back onto the next series, as the Angels have said.
So that's Olivia and James there with a lease extension deal for a flat in Crawley. I think the issues here, I mean, they're investable people, of course they are. The thing is, the project just ain't that great for an investor to get involved. The issue here is the short lease and the complications of the lease extension, and also the fact the time you're in. So it's a lot of money to be in the deal, if you like, for quite a long time. It's going to be a couple of years before you get your money out. And of course, it's kind of mixed with the owner occupation aim or goal, which is completely different from the investor standpoint. So remember, if you're looking for finance for your next project and you want to know when we get round to filming series 3 of Property Elevator, I've got a link in the description below. Register your details. When we get ready for filming series 3, I'll email you and let you know how you can get involved on this channel. If you don't have Sky, don't worry, you can watch all the pictures from series 2 of Property Elevator, and they'll be on this channel. We release them every week. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon. Tell us what you think about the pitch, about the way the Angels handled it and all that jazz. Leave your comments down below, and see you guys in the next video.